Today's episode is brought to you by the best store in the universe. Thousands of shirts, but not really. Shop now and support the show at MaddoxRules.com. Welcome to the best debate in the universe. Every debate in the universe, from having a unibrow to being Kung Lao. With over 3.5 million downloads, I'm your host, Maddox. With me is the first tangent officer, Ron Babcock.
Hey!
And as always, the journalist in moderation, Taylor Nicolai.
You got it right on the second try.
Welcome back to the show. Guys, amazing show this week. We've got so much to cover. I just got back from a trip to Mexico. And also, last week, I said if we got enough votes, I would have a unibrow. And for those of you watching live right now on YouTube, and also if you guys are catching the stream that I post on YouTube, I actually have a unibrow. So you're welcome, idiots. And guess what? It looks great on me.
Yeah, we're the idiots.
Yeah.
Did you get that in Mexico?
No, I didn't get it in Mexico, Ron.
Now, honestly, when we look at it, it looks shockingly real.
Yeah.
And more than one of us has inquired as to whether you just grew it this past week.
It made me angry.
We should, we'll get to how good a unibrow looks on me in a second. But first, I want to introduce our guest this week. He's an amazing illustrator for Cyanide and Happiness and Any Means Necessary Clothing. Please welcome to the show, Shawn Coss. Shawn, welcome to the show.
Bow down, bitches.
Yeah. Shawn, amazing talent. So lucky to have you. It's been a long time coming. We're so glad you're from Ohio, so you're in town in Los Angeles.
We're so glad you're from Ohio.
Yeah,
We're
so
glad
that you're
Ohio,
going
yeah.
back eventually and leaving our city.
So Shawn came over today, all right? Walks in the door with his partner Mike. Mike's also in
Business
studio. Business partner, yeah. They are from Ohio.
I mean, we are progressive.
Not that progressive.
Not that progressive.
But Shawn and Mike walk in, and I forgot that I drew on this unibrow, and they said nothing. And so then we went to this coffee shop, right? Get some coffee. And I walk in, and there's this lady behind the counter.
Looks like Mandy Moore.
Yeah, she looks like Mandy Moore, all right? Pretty attractive chick.
Like Mandy Moore now?
No, Mandy
No,
Moore.
Mandy Moore in
back
Save.
then.
At her prime. Mandy Moore
Save-
prime.
Mandy
time.
Moore now still is great.
So this girl, I go in to order coffee. She's like smiling at me and everything. And I'm like, yeah.
Probably because she
what?
feels sorry for you.
Yo,
Oh.
That's not why, Ron. She was smiling because she was so happy to see me. and she thought I was a real studly looking dude.
Doesn't the unibrow like release pheromones?
It does.
It does?
It
Yeah.
does, Shawn.
Yeah.
Yeah, correct. Shawn, smart man. So I'm sitting there like, yeah, this chick's into me. That's cool. This Mandy Moore chick. And then I come back to the studio, and as soon as I walk in, Ron's like, you look like an idiot. And I'm like, what? Why? And I forgot that I had this unibrow on, and that's why she was smiling, most likely.
She was probably laughing really hard inside.
Yeah.
What you didn't realize is that was actually Mandy Moore.
It was actual.
Yeah,
Things aren't going well.
Things
I know.
She's just working at a coffee.
She's studying for a new part. It's a barista.
Yeah. It's you do research for these roles. And I should also mention, guys, for those of you watching live, we're going to be reading some comments from the chat room every now and then. We do get some super chats as well. Apostolos all the way from Greece. €2 says best unibrow in the universe. Thank you, Apostolos. I agree.
Wait, how do you know he's from Greece?
He's a Greek dude. Come on, that's
I bet you €2 that he's not from Greece.
yeah. Well, you're on, buddy.
Italy.
The only
We'll find out.
the only thing more Greek than that name is this unibrow. But seriously, Ron, you and Taylor, you guys didn't. Taylor thought it was real. Taylor thought I grew it in. He goes, "You grew that after a week?"
It looks shockingly real.
Yeah.
It does.
See, that's what I'm saying. Unibrows look good on me. That's what I was saying last week.
I mean, that's a stretch, saying it looks good.
You know what?
Just because I thought it was
Sean.
real doesn't mean I think it looks good. I thought it
Yeah,
looked
you were
terrible.
jumping to that conclusion. No one said that this looks good.
Hey, well, let's just extrapolate, okay? If breasts look real, that's a good thing, right? And if unibrows look real, that's also a good thing.
No, because
If
one
so,
of them
back
is
to
breast
fuck
and
you.
the other one is a unibrow.
Well, they're the same thing, basically.
One makes my penis move. The other one makes it high.
What's the debate today?
Well, oh yeah, we should mention the debate. Thank you, Taylor. The debate is, what's the scariest horror movie? And we all have a pick. We're gonna- yeah.
Okay.
Okay, good.
I'm assuming it's probably FaceTiming with you with that unibrow.
Yeah.
By the way, that guy is Greek. I owe you $2.
Yeah,
Is he Greek?
Apostolos in the chat room followed up. He goes, yeah, I am Greek. Ron, pay €2. That's right, €2. That means $40. All right.
Even the process of like figuring out how to pay in euro would be the hardest part about that process.
Yeah.
I think you should actually do it.
I will also accept V-Bucks, the Fortnite currency. But we should mention that later on in the show, I also have another fan gift.
Oh my God.
Yeah, can't wait to open this up on the show. And we got some quick news headlines with our journalist in moderation, Taylor Nikolai. And we've got some voicemails. So this is a really packed show. And then I think after the debate, I'm going to talk about my trip to Mexico.
Yeah, I mean, this is all surprise. You went down to Mexico. You went to go hunt for a unibrow.
Do you have diarrhea?
Taylor, spoiler, spoiler, Taylor. We want to keep it a cliffhanger for those listening at home.
Hang on to the end to find
Yeah.
out if Maddox
Find
has
out.
diarrhea.
Find out about my stool. All right, guys. But we should get to the debate. But before we do that, Sean, I want to hear everyone's buzzers. Here's mine. Sean, let's hear yours. And Ron Babcock.
Let's see. I'll do this one.
There you go. If you hear a buzzer from anyone during this debate, that means someone is chiming in to disagree or point out a factual correction or just trying to interject. But let's get to the debate this week. Sean, as our guest this week, I'm going to give you first stab. What do you think is the scariest horror movie?
Oh man, scariest horror movie. It depends on age, I guess. So are we talking about when we were kids, or like what we think now is?
What do you think now? So the subtitle for this episode that I put in parentheses that I haven't mentioned on this actual episode, but it's in the thumbnail, is what's the scariest movie? And then in parentheses, if you're a huge pussy. So what do you think? What do you think the scariest movie is now? I would say, or maybe of old time. You could say of old time.
All time.
Yeah.
Man, so I'm going to have to go with, I got to say Hereditary right now. And I know someone's talking shit on Hereditary at the moment on the chat, but man, that's the first movie in a very, 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 very long time that's scared me shitless.
Hereditary.
Now, I might have been high off my ass when it happened, but I was terrified.
I've heard that a lot, and I don't believe a single fucking word of it because I think it's all...
No. I have a reason.
It's all marketing hype, and you're part of it. You're part of the fucking hype.
I never
By the way,
saw
we
it.
should be very careful about not spoiling it.
Right.
I don't give a shit.
I never actually saw
No spoilers.
any of the previews of the movie. I just kept hearing a bunch of podcasts talking about it.
I think that's the way you got to go see movies, by the way.
Exactly.
I never watch trailers. I don't even like to look at the movie poster. Sometimes I just walk up, look at the titles. I'm like, I'm going to this one. Don't know what it
I
is.
had no idea what I was coming into. All I kept hearing people go, if you like The Witch, which is also a very polarizing kind of horror film, is you need to go see this movie.
So Hereditary, okay, I saw the previews for it.
See, you
and
fucked up already.
It breaks one of my own cardinal rules with horror movies, which is kids. Kids are never fucking scary. I'm never afraid of kids. I'm not afraid of somebody where if I bump into them, it will cause serious injury in a grocery store. I'm just not afraid of kids. Kids are never fucking scary.
I don't know, man. My girlfriend was telling me her friend at work is a new mom, and she went into her kid's room, and the kid was just saying mama and was just pointing into the corner. And she looked, and there was nothing there. And she kept putting his hand down, and he kept raising his hand and going, mama, and pointing to the corner. And her just telling me that creeped me the fuck out.
Kids are terrifying, man.
Yeah.
Kids
Look,
fucking scare the
what
shit
about
out
Pet
of me.
Cemetery?
I've
You ever
only
been
seen
on the
parts of it.
metro and like a pack of 12-year-old boys walk on and they're being all loud and shit?
No, he's turned
Their
on at
backpacks
that
are full
point.
of spray paint. Like teenage, like high school teenage boys, like I scare the fuck out of me.
Yeah, because they're hoodlums. They might cause some vandalism or something.
I think most children are scary because they don't realize the power that they have. All they need to do is just go up, point at you, and be like, "This guy did something to me," and your life is fucking over.
Well, yeah, that's true. But they're also like physically not imposing, right? Like if you had to fight a kid,
Oh, I don't know. I've seen enough World Star where a bunch of kids jump someone. It's never pretty.
a bunch of
like 4 kids.
Like one-on-one, I could
Do you
take
think-
him,
do you
but there's 4 12-year-olds? I don't know, man.
Please, I could take 20 12-year-olds.
You think so?
Easily. Are you fucking kidding me? I'd punch right
Where
through
would
their
you
fucking
take them?
head.
Chuck E. Cheese?
Dude,
Take
that
it to
would be a
early
show.
grave.
That would be a show I would watch is Maddox versus 20 12-year-olds.
I
yeah.
would pay for that. Let's Kickstarter
Yeah,
that.
I think so. In the chat room, people are loving that. Everyone would watch that. We got we got some comments. Someone said Mike Gam said Ooga Booga is the world's scariest movie. I agree. It's a real good horror movie. If you guys haven't seen it, you should watch it. I star in that shit. Anyway,
Is that the terrifying part? You being on this?
you know what, Sean? I
haven't seen either of these movies. I don't watch a lot of horror movies because I never go into a theater and be like, I want to feel scared.
You should, because it's one of the best ways to actually get out of your head is allowing yourself to be scared. Like, I saw Hereditary because I have the movie pass and I see a lot of movies, but also
Man, Taylor's always fucking name dropping.
Yeah.
He's got the movie pass.
Yeah.
So okay, so I'm listening. Okay.
I loved Hereditary. It had its issues. It had some pacing issues. It had some editing issues. It was a little long, but it really struck a chord for me. But one of the things I was going to say about like this whole question of what's the scariest movie, it really comes down to what are you afraid of?
Exactly.
And also, there's two types of scary movies. Broadly speaking, there's horror and terror. A lot of people, when they talk about scariest movie they've ever seen, they're talking about jump scares. And that's an element or a trope of terror films, whereas to me, scary is horror. And Hereditary was horror. It did have its terror tropes, it did have jump scares, but it really struck a deeper level of horror for me. And actually, like, I saw it with some friends who are also big horror fans, and it really scared them too. To me, the scariest movie of all time is Halloween. But also, like, there is a nostalgia basis to that. If you're not talking about the nostalgia basis, easily, I would say The Ring was probably the scariest movie I've ever seen.
The Ring was decent. It was a good horror movie, but I wouldn't say I was scared because I'm really tough. But
I'd punch that 12-year-old in the face too.
yeah, again, another fucking kid. I'm not afraid of kids.
It's funny to go to a scary movie with Maddox because he always stands up in the middle of it, points at the screen, and goes, "I'm not scared of you." Like, dude, sit down.
No, people are like, "Ooh, who's that man?"
Like, if he keeps saying it, he'll believe it.
I don't know. You know what movie scared me is I used to live with this guy named Ben, and around Halloween, every single day, he would, like, that whole month, he would watch just a scary movie every single day.
I'm one of those guys.
Yep.
Fucking the worst.
I called it Scary Movie Month.
Yeah.
I would post a schedule and
Yeah.
I'd say, friends who want to come over, you can come over.
Come on over for Scaretober. You know, and they all watch, and it's like 8 a.m. and I'm seeing like some like girl getting murdered on the TV, and I'm like, I haven't even had my coffee. So I remember
a little early for
he
porn.
sat me down.
Sorry, he
He sat me down and he made me watch a room that scared the shit out of me. I don't even know if this is like a scary movie in your world, but I think it was called Neighbors, and it was like
I think I've heard of that. Yeah,
there was this like people who coming to the door.
Starring Zac Efron.
No, it wasn't.
Was it his six-pack abs? You're just like, I'm scared of that.
Is it Neighbor singular? It was about people coming to the door, and they like. It was the best thing about it was the fact that it was one of those movies where like not much happened, but when like there was a knock on the door, like I almost shit my pants.
Was it Mother? Are you thinking of Mother?
No, it
No?
wasn't Mother.
Because I've only seen part of that movie. I
It was
couldn't
like
even get through
something or Next Door, Stranger's Next. God damn it! I'm gonna look it up.
Well, while you look that up, I will say this: Taylor's description, and Sean, this is a point against you because Taylor did a good job of describing the difference between what'd you say? It's horror versus what?
Terror.
Terror. Horror versus terror. Now, terror is jump scares. You would define, right?
Broadly speaking, yes.
Okay, I agree with that description. And Sean, had you come out of the gates, guns blazing with that fucking argument, I would have been like, Sean, still shitty argument. But
I didn't even get to even voice my opinion on Hereditary.
oh yeah, you still didn't.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
So what was scary about Hereditary?
So Hereditary, with my age now, having two daughters, unfortunately for them, seeing the dynamics of this family. Am I allowed to spoil shit, or am I not spoiling shit?
I think we shouldn't spoil because the people don't like that.
Okay. So, well, as a parent, because I was telling you earlier about how depending on the age, horror movies are subjective on what's scary. So back when I was growing up, like you said, the Michael Myers series was terrifying. Arachnophobia scared the piss out of me. You know, I'm not a big fan of spiders. I am a pussy. Big old vagina.
Arachnophobia, Jaws if you're afraid of sharks and oceans.
Commitment if you're
lots of commitment. Yeah.
You guys see Commitment? It's fucking terrifying.
should make a movie.
And it lasts your whole life.
I like being scared, so I committed to having two kids. I'm like, I just want to be terrified every day of my life. It's working.
They should make a movie, seriously, a horror movie called Commitment, where you just go to a bar and every chick you hook up with like wants to be your girlfriend.
10 years minimum.
Would you like to meet my father?
No, this is just a one night stand.
It's nice to meet you, son.
He's like always there.
What are you saying that you because you have daughters, Hereditary?
So Hereditary with the whole So the daughter, who's kind of a whack job, I guess, on some level. Not so much of a whack job. I think she's on the spectrum a little bit, autistic on some level. Just from like seeing how she responds to emotion, stuff like that. She's very flat affect. But just the events that happen with her and during like the scene that happens, being a parent was the most horrifying thing on earth to me.
Right.
And when we actually saw it at like Columbus, we were like, hey, let's go see a fucking movie. Let's go see this Hereditary.
Wait.
And all hold hands.
Hold on. Do they not have like a movie theater in Akron?
Well, we were down there for a Comic-Con convention.
Because I was going to be like, guys,
they can't afford.
Akron is way smaller than I
Right,
thought.
they can't afford movie theaters. But when that scene happened, and then seeing the repercussions after, like the family dynamic, and then that was really terrifying to me personally.
Right.
And then once it gets into the third act, then I just got creeped the fuck out.
Yeah, let's not spoil the third act at all.
The third act is literally probably one of my favorite.
Very tonally similar to The Witch, which you mentioned.
Yes,
earlier.
right. And The Witch, I think a lot of people hated on because it was such a slow burn. People want that jump scare.
The Witch had a shit ending. Can we just talk about the elephant in the room? There's a shit ending for that fucking movie. I'm going to fucking spoil it right now. All right, so at the very end, she's like floating around, and I think you see her boobs, so that's cool. But then other than that...
No, I don't think they showed her. It was the three old women.
Yeah, and then you see their boobs. That's cool.
Right, saggy titties. It's awesome.
It's something.
Compounding on what you were saying about Hereditary, the thing that you were scared about, that terrified you or horrified you, was very similar to what I experienced, where it's like there are several layers of horror to that film. One, there's the obvious one that is what the movie's about that I don't want to spoil. But then there's several layers about trauma, which is a very horrifying human experience that we all go through, but like it's hard to see it on screen, as well as just family deconstruction, which we all have families, and the idea that any of our families, like our support system, our that is the core to our existence. For most of humans, is our family, and having that deconstruct in any way, shape, or form is one of the most horrifying experiences that a human being could have.
The Strangers. That was the name
Strangers.
of the movie.
That was a good
Okay.
one, yeah.
Just found it.
Great.
That's another good one because the ending to that is perfect. I love no motive to the violence setting.
That, I agree with you.
No.
That is one of the... No.
Yes.
No.
Because
Because
sometimes
that's real.
life doesn't have a motive, Taylor.
Well, the reality of like people die every day. Like a serial killer, like just like okay, so the BTK killer would choose people. They didn't do anything wrong. It just happened to be there.
I think it was Romero that said you always need a metaphor in your horror film. Otherwise, it's just chaos. So, like...
Chaos is fucking terrifying.
Yeah. I mean, if there's no motive, that's scarier. Like, why'd you do it? You were there.
Like
you were home. I felt like doing it to you. That's more scary to me than someone going, I've been watching you for 10 years and I
There's no
finally
reason
got you.
then.
Yeah.
And if there's no reason, there's no rhyme or reason, then there's no like...
They're literally doing it for the whole
It means that it can truly happen to anybody.
Right.
Well, that to me, first of all, is liberating. And second, there's
I can't wait to kill.
there's
I feel like your whole life is just a preparation that the purge might actually happen.
I'm so ready. I got my stash.
You know how we all have a secret superpower?
Yeah.
Like,
This is
and
the
I
lust
feel
for
like
murder?
yours is like, I think I do really well in the purge.
You know what? No joke. I really think that I'm a hero, and I just don't get very many opportunities to show people, and that's the problem.
So you're gonna
That's
kill
why-
them by showing them? Like,
No,
in the
you know,
purge?
if this was like, ancient times, when we had huge fucking battles, I'd be the front of the line taking out like 20 heads of like 12-year-olds.
Bunch of 12-year-olds.
A bunch of 12-year-olds. Yeah, bringing it back. You said
I think chaos is scary, but I think it's just bad writing because I feel like that means that the screenwriter was like, I don't know,
Well,
they're just
like,
there.
It's a bit like non sequiturs in comedy, where it can be really funny, but it's also like, well, if anything's funny, it's just like it is kind of it can be lazy if you use it as a crutch. It also can be really funny.
But chaos as a murder motive or lack of motive rather, there's a chance that it might not happen, which makes it not scary. So if it's arbitrary, right? If the murderer maybe I'll kill you, maybe I won't. Well, okay, there's a chance I'll live. That to me is less scary and less intimidating than someone who's like, oh, he's definitely going to kill you. Like Jason in Friday the 13th is definitely going to kill you. That's what he does. He kills.
Yeah.
There's no chance you're not going to get killed. He's Jason.
Him and Michael Myers are the laziest killers I've ever seen.
What do you mean? They're always fucking running. How dare you?
They don't run. They walk.
Well, that's something.
They're that lazy.
No,
It's
they
like,
do
I
get
wanna
their
ki-
10,000 steps every day.
I want to see if he's got a Fitbit on. That
Yeah.
thing's probably like
Fucking
100,000 steps over on Crystal. Was it Crystal Lake?
Yeah, Crystal Lake. Put a Pokemon trainer on that bad boy.
If he has a Fitbit, he must get so many more steps from stabbing all the time.
Oh, yeah.
You know, just the
How many
motion.
calories have I burned?
Oh, we should also mention, we just kind of talked about this at the top of the show, Sean. You have this clothing company called Any Means Necessary, which is just blown up. And you also do this thing for Inktober, which is something that a lot of illustrators do. But you did this mental health awareness series, right, where you tried to illustrate all the different types of mental awareness things. And we should talk about this real quick as a quick aside, because I think this is really important. And your work and your clothing is so amazing. You guys, if you've seen on the stream, sometimes I wear a shirt that has Jason from Friday the 13th on it. That's Sean's shirt. That's him and his partner Mike, and it's just amazing stuff.
Business partner.
Business partner.
Oh yeah,
Which,
they're
by
not
the
that
way-
progressive.
Only partners on the weekends.
You guys should do like when somebody says partner, you guys should yell out business partner, but
Well-
then also yell out who like to fuck.
When I'll tell you about the mental illness. I just want to tell you a quick story about Michael over here, who's my business partner, Michael Nemitz. We were on a vacation. We came back, and he's like, "Man, my stomach hurts." I'm like, "You're probably constipated because you always have stomach issues." Well, it ends up his appendix ruptured.
Oh, no.
And was like making him go septic. So he's in the hospital, and I'm chatting with him, and his mom brought his aunt and uncle that first time they were ever meeting. And I come in, they're like, "Oh, this is Mike's partner." They do this clothing line. I'm like, "Oh, cool." And then I left, and apparently they're like, "So how does that work with his wife? Like, he's married, but he's got a partner?" And then I was like, "Oh, we need to start saying business partner."
No, you really don't.
Well, I don't know. Partner and clothing line. I mean, I can
Well,
see why people.
right?
It's
Like,
implied, yeah. But Sean, so this series of yours went viral, right? The mental awareness.
Yes. In 2016. Initially, so years before, I kept trying to do Inktober illness.
Yeah.
I have so bad ADD that I start with like 5 days and I go, fuck it, not worth it.
Yeah.
And 2016, I put it out to my fans. I'm like, hey, I'm looking for what should I do this year?
Right.
And someone put a random comment saying you should do mental illness through the eyes of a schizophrenic, which made no sense to me whatsoever. But I left it alone. A couple days later, it had like 100 likes, a bunch of comments going, "Yeah, you need to fucking do this."
Yeah.
And for those of you who don't know, who probably don't know me regardless, I'm a ER nurse 2 times a week in Ohio. And I deal with a lot of mental illness in our place because the mental ward that used to take them doesn't have an ER anymore, so they come to us now. So I get to see like the worst of the worst, schizophrenic, psychotic breaks, stuff like that. So I have a huge background in dealing with mental illness, dealing with patients who have mental illness. Myself struggle with depression, I guess bipolar, ADD, a lot of anxiety issues. But I did 5 different ones. The first one was borderline personality disorder, and then a couple different ones, and posted them on my Facebook page. And next morning I get on there, and so my page was getting an average of like 100 likes, 200 likes here and there, and this thing's got like 3,000 likes on it. I'm going, what the fuck happened here? And I have all these people leaving comments. They're like, "Oh my god, yes, do this." And
So were they like single panels, or were you doing like
just
little
one singular image, which is very difficult.
Yeah, to like communicate a whole like
Exactly. You're trying to take a illness this big and condense it to one single image to portray the best way possible, which I got a lot of flack for. I took a lot of shit. I had people wishing my kids would become retarded. They hope they die, or they hope one of them
Very compassionate.
Very
people,
compassionate.
Yeah.
because they felt like you portrayed.
They felt
it
like I
incorrectly?
was making them out to be monsters. And then exploiting mental illness.
It's an interpretation of that mental illness, because there is like illness is the key word. It is kind of a monster that a lot of people tackle with and deal with every single day. I've dealt with people who've had some of these mental illnesses that you've illustrated, and it is tough.
Like the one in the mirror. You deal with that one every day?
Which one? You know what? Fuck you, Sean. Trying to do this uplifting moment, making fun of a guy with a unibrow, real low.
I think you need medicine for that thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm never getting rid of
You
this.
do look like the world's most well-spoken Cro-Magnon man.
Doesn't it look cool? I feel like I look angry all the time. Doesn't it
you
look
look
great.
You look like what? You remember the caveman from the Geico commercials
Yeah.
where it's like, "Not cool, bro.
Yeah.
Not cool."
Yeah, he now has a podcast.
By the way, I predicted that one. So I created this website a long time ago. It's still up. If you go to saddestcaveman.com, it's the sad. I took a picture of myself wearing a wig, and one time I posted it on IRC, and someone's like, "You look like a sad caveman." And so it was like a big black wig, and I created this website called Saddest Caveman in the World, where I was going to create a blog where I was just like a sad caveman. And then the Geico commercials came out. I remember calling my editor before the Geico commercials came out, and he goes, "So you predicted pirates. What's the next big thing?" And I'm like, "Cavemen." And he goes, "Get out of here." I'm like, "Cavemen." Then the Geico commercials happened, and then that fucking show ruined it. And so, yeah, I have my finger on the pulse of ancient types of humans.
So I'm excited to see what your prediction is going to be for the next kind of comedy wave thing.
Yeah, I got a few.
We went through bears. We went through ninjas.
Yeah, ninjas,
robots.
Pirates, yeah, robots.
I don't know what the next is going to be.
I got a couple picks. I think bears are coming back for sure, though.
You know what's not scary to me?
What's that?
Is torture porn. Like that whole genre is not scary to me, and it's just grotesque.
Yeah, I watch every single Saw movie. Like I'm a moth to flames with Saw movies.
They're fun to watch. Yeah.
It's interesting to see the torture devices they come up with.
Yeah,
the creativity behind those.
But are people afraid of those?
No, they're not scary. I will tell you guys what a scary movie is if you're a pussy, which I am not. But for most people, a scary movie. And this is going to be controversial. Here's my pick. Blair Witch. Yeah. There you go. Blair Witch. The original Blair Witch. That was so controversial.
I will give you that.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, Blair Witch, because that was so controversial. Because when the movie first came out, I found that if anyone lived near a forest or an orchard that even looked remotely like that forest that they went through to find the Blair Witch cabin, they were scared to death because they could relate to the weird noises you hear when you're out there, the otherworldly types of noises and things like that. The ending to the Blair Witch movie was probably the scariest ending to a horror movie of all time. And also, there was that viral marketing campaign when that movie first came out because they shot this thing on a shoestring budget for $50,000.
It was the first viral marketing campaign ever.
It was before the internet was really a big thing at the time.
So put your mindset, it was 1996, I think. So the internet wasn't really a popular thing. You couldn't Google. Google didn't exist. Google was created in 1998. So
yeah, we were still using web crawler.
Yeah, we still have 56K modems back then, right?
Right. So you couldn't just while you're standing in line for the movie, everybody's talking about whether it's real, whether it's fake. They just found these tapes, and that's how it was presented, right? Even in the start of the movie, they're like, we found these tapes, we compiled this together, we don't know what happened. So people are standing.
That was at a time when found footage wasn't
That was
a
the
thing.
first found footage film, wasn't it?
Right.
The concept of a found footage movie hadn't existed. I see people in the chat room saying it was boring. No, it wasn't boring because you watched it not being sure if it was real or not. Because that was at a time when what was these movies that come out, Paranormal Activity. When those came out, they tried to make people believe, is it real? Is it fake? It's like everyone knew it wasn't real.
But that first Paranormal Activity was pretty good.
It was good. That would be my second pick if I had to pick one.
But my point is that you can't frame anything as is it real or not anymore because everyone knows they're not real. You wouldn't get major distribution on something that was real because it would be evidence.
I actually learned that movies, it is not illegal to say this is based on true events. You can put that on anything.
So Texas Chainsaw Massacre actually did that.
Yeah, because that's
based on a true
Ed
story,
Gein.
but it wasn't. It had nothing to do with Ed Gein.
It took just so Ed Gein was one of the main inspirations for it, like the whole wearing the skin. Are you familiar with Ed Gein at all?
Yes,
okay.
he's a Wisconsinite. I'm from Minnesota.
Yeah, okay. So, but yeah, I learned last week that any movie can put this is based on a true story.
Well,
and you can get away with it.
Texas is a real thing, so
right.
You guys,
look it up, idiots.
You guys ever see that one scary movie, Student Loan Debt?
So when I saw Blair Witch Project, after it was done, I walked my friend home to her house, and it was through the woods.
Oh,
so there's this path,
ballsy.
And there's this path through the woods, and I dropped her off at her house, and I was walking back, and a big ass buck jumped out right 20 feet in front of me. A buck is a big deer.
Yeah.
And
for you LA people,
giant dollar bill jumped out in front of me.
And it was like one of those moments where my heart just stopped. And it was like you talk about scary things.
Dollar jumped out and they asked me for change.
Got any change, sir? Like, oh my god.
I didn't have any giant quarters on me. I didn't know what to do.
I've never seen any of these movies.
I never say you've never seen a deer.
I've never seen Blair
man.
Witch. I've never seen like The Ring. Any movie you have mentioned.
You just watch soccer.
I've never seen.
Yeah.
I saw Scary Movie.
I like that.
So, like, the reason why The Ring was so scary, like, I'm afraid of The Ring in the same way that I'm afraid of It Follows. I think anything that you can't control, no matter what, is a terrifying element of a movie. So, the thing with It Follows and The Ring, they both have their rules that if you discover what the rules are, you can stop
I feel like It Follow breaks their own rules right at the pool scene. Because, remember, it was a unstoppable force that just keeps coming, and all of a sudden it had motive at the It Follows been on for fucking ever.
Real quick aside, in the chat room, Tender Tuna says, would Taylor pronounce lag and drag as leg and drag?
I say leg and drag.
Yeah, that's incorrect.
Lag and drag?
I'm from Minnesota and I have an accent.
He thinks he's pronouncing bag correctly, but he's not.
Well, apparently I put an L at the end of a bunch of things. If I say I'm drawing something, like brawl, like a brawl, I put an L at the end of it.
So what does your wife wear? Brawls?
Huh? She just lets them sag. It's fine. Yeah. We're from Ohio. We don't care anymore. We're married. We have 2 kids. Those things are touching her knees.
Oh my gosh.
She's playing hacky sack wherever she goes.
Yep.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so Blair Witch. Now here's the unfortunate thing, Ron, and this is for most people who haven't seen these movies, especially Blair Witch, because that is one of those things where you had to have watched it in the 90s before the internet was a thing, so you could look it up and you didn't know if it was real
now,
or not.
when you go see a horror movie, like, do you prefer to watch it in the theater? Do you feel like that gives you a better experience than watching it at home with your friends? And if so, if you do watch it at home, are you talking during the movie a lot?
I hate people who talk.
Horror films in theaters are generally hard because you have teenagers on dates laughing. And so, like, the laughing is an issue. Like, even just, like, coughing can really distract you from being able to really get into the horror. One of the things I suggest to people, to watch it at home, turn off all the lights, don't have your cell phone out. And honestly, one of the best ways that you can really get into it is if you're drinking a little bit. And like, if you're under 21, obviously don't do that kind of a thing, but allow yourself to get scared, and you'd be surprised at how freeing that moment is.
I mean, here's the thing. When you watch it, I agree. It depends on the horror movie. If it's one where you need quiet and concentration, like I wouldn't watch It Follows or A Quiet Place in a theater during opening weekend, because you're always going to have some asshole idiot like shouting, "Oh, it's behind you," or some stupid shit like that. But on a date, sometimes when you're like watching a horror movie, the chick gets scared. She grabs my donger. Holy shit, man! She gives it a good honk. Damn.
You didn't even look at your computer when you did that. You have that memorized.
You actually just did that with your penis.
Wow.
Yeah, ladies. We got a few super chats. Alex Palacio says, for $2, says, F-U Maddox, F-U Alex. Apostolos says, when I was a kid, the scariest movie was The Fly. Oh, that's right. The Fly was
I saw The Fly, and that creeped me the fuck out.
Are you talking about the original black and white Fly, or like the Jeff Goldblum?
No, I think he's talking Jeff Goldblum Fly.
The Jeff Goldblum one was
like the
popular.
only.
But all I remember
movie
from the Jeff Goldblum Fly was there was a scene where there was an arm wrestling scene, and he like snapped the guy's arm in half. I think that was in The Fly, and that freaked me the fuck out as a kid.
I remember the dog that they tried to transfer. So
yeah,
me and my mom, so my mom raised me on horror films. Big surprise, but I was eating.
See, my mom raised me on Cary Grant movies, so I feel like we have a different background.
That shows. I can see that.
Thank you so much.
Who is Cary Grant?
Jesus fucking Christ, Taylor.
Good point.
But I was eating stuffing while this dog gets turned inside out. And apparently, my mom threw up on me. I didn't realize it.
What?
Like, she was behind me eating and threw up on me.
What?
Yeah. So I got like that whole like 3D effect of like being in the movie.
So anyway, fast forward 30 years. Now Sean's doing mental illness drugs.
Yeah, and I just really enjoy an affair to remember. So it all worked out.
I try to look back and like, why am I so fucked up? Oh yeah, my mom vomited on me.
Yeah. Cut to.
I like that one comic you did of that.
Yeah.
It's like mom vomiting on.
Is that a mental illness? I don't know.
I don't know. It sounds like it should be though.
Probably.
So when I think of scary movies, I think of a moment in that movie. Do you guys have a moment in a scary movie that you can recall? So, like, for me, when I think of Halloween, the scariest moment in that whole movie is not the stabbing or whatever. It's when she's sitting in that classroom and she looks out the window and she just sees him standing there. That, to me, is true horror, is that unpredictability. I guess we're going back to the chaos concept, but, like, that unpredictability of, like, what is that? And, like, that concept.
I'll tell you one of the scariest moments in a horror movie, and this is just a brilliant device. In Paranormal Activity 3, okay, so every odd number of that movie is good. The even ones are terrible. Even ones are terrible. 1 was good, 2 sucked, 3 was good, 4 sucked. I have high hopes for 5. So in Paranormal Activity 3, there's this. They made a new device, right? So this guy's like, it's a found footage type thing, home security cameras. They're looking for ghosts and that sort of thing. They used a device where they put a camera on an oscillating fan. So the camera, the fan is like slowly sweeping left to right, and it pauses at the end, right? When it goes to it, how an oscillating fan pauses, and you're just waiting for it. And when it moves again, when it sweeps past again, something has changed. A sheet has moved a little bit, and you're like, oh fuck. Where is this thing?
I was hoping the fan was going to start going all the way around like an exorcist.
Exorcist, like, puking.
The fan's going all the way around.
Fans don't do that. What? No, but that was such a good device.
If they did, it would be such a good fan.
I feel like after like the second movie, I agree. Like the second and fourth are shit shows.
Yeah. The odd ones are good.
Like the odd ones, like with the first one, you didn't know when it was going to start. Like when the horror was going to start, and all of a sudden just little things started happening in Paranormal Activity. With 3, like it's going to happen eventually.
Yeah,
you're just not sure how it's going.
Exactly.
Is that the one with the kid in the sheet or not?
I don't know. They all have like stupid gimmicks like that. But the oscillating fan one was such a good device because you were just sitting there in anticipation the entire time. It's fantastic. Mike Gams in the chat room says, "Who is Cary Grant? How many Instagram followers does she have?"
I was in a scary movie once.
You were in a scary movie?
Yep.
Which one?
I acted in a movie called Chainsaw. It was a short film produced by Crypt TV.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Based on true stories.
Yes, based on true stories.
You could say that about
I actually have a line in it, and I'm like, "Oh, cool," or something. I had to eat hot dogs in my scene, and like so they had like if you know anything about like shooting films or TV or whatever,
or
like,
hot dogs,
or hot dogs,
like you have to film the same scene over and over again. Like I was ready to throw up after Hot Dog 3, and they had like a line of 30.
Wait, was there like a whole crew there? Or was it just you in a trailer with another guy?
No, it was.
He's like, just eat that hot dog.
It was
just
a real
It
thing.
was crafty. Taylor, you're supposed to have a spit bucket. You're not supposed to swallow them.
I spit them out, but even still, it was.
Yeah.
They have spit buckets.
Yeah, we have.
Yeah, like the commercials where somebody bites into a hamburger, like they smile. So they'll have like a shit ton of hamburgers, and they'll just get a bunch of bites, and then at the cut, you'll just see this actor like barf out this burger, and then the makeup person comes over and like cleans them up for the next take.
Want to know who the lead was in that movie that I was in?
Was it Maddox?
Was it a hot dog?
It was Logan Paul.
Was it really?
God.
Yeah.
How did that movie?
He seems like a fun guy.
That was
on
his
set.
breakout film, apparently.
Yeah.
You know, say what you will about him, like he was always very nice to me.
Was he? Well, that's nice.
I really appreciate his branding ability. I hate the guy personally, I guess. I don't know him, but I don't like some of the things that he does. But I enjoy anyone, even yourself, just how you brand and how you kind of grow the brand of yourself. You didn't, do some of the more questionable things, I don't think. Maybe in Mexico, we hear about
suicide forest,
right? Unless we hear about your Mexico stories.
Oh yeah, we got some crazy Mexico stories. I won't be able to tell all of them today, but I'll talk a little bit about that. Which actually, we should probably get to a wrap up here in just a minute. So, Ron, what was your horror pick? Was it The Strangers?
The Strangers, because that's the one I remember seeing, and it scared me. Sorry,
I don't know how
cool enough for you guys.
This is a Madcast Media first, but you can't say an opinion is wrong, but that is the wrong opinion.
Well, tell opinions are wrong every fucking week.
That's true. Correct. And my pick was the Blair Witch Project. And Sean, yours was?
I'm still sticking with Hereditary. I just can't explain why because I can't ruin the fucking third part.
Yeah. And Taylor, did you have a pick or no?
My favorite slasher is Halloween. My favorite horror movie in general that scares me the most is the question: What's the scariest film?
Scariest horror movie if you were a pussy?
Like the scariest movie I've ever seen is The Ring. And like maybe it's dated a little bit now. They had VHS tapes, man. Like think about that. That's how old that movie is.
And telephones. Like you could pick up your phone, and it was still like an age where you would answer a phone number you don't recognize. There was not caller ID everywhere,
right?
And there was like a home phone, and you would hang up, and you had to watch a VHS. You had so many devices you needed. You couldn't make that movie today.
Yeah, I feel like kids would watch The Ring today and be like, "This isn't like." That's the thing about all horror is that like. A lot of times it gets dated, and like Blair Witch Project, if it's watched by a kid today, it's not going to be scary because they're so in this world. Like the genre exists now. It's so much of horror is what the context is when it comes out and watching it then.
I actually think I want to change my answer if that's okay. Instead of The Strangers, I'd like to change it to An Affair to Remember.
What is The Affair to Remember? Is that with Michael Douglas?
Cary Grant movie.
Okay.
And I mean, I don't want to spoil it, but. You know, it's a chance. Maybe there's a chance we might end up alone, and that to me is the scariest thing of all. Yeah, I guess your walk through the forest is really scary too.
Yeah, it's a fucking because there's a witch maybe that you or maybe
and whatever
not.
The ring piece of jewelry that Taylor is afraid of.
I feel like Blair Witch was just a bad acid trip. None of it was real. They're just hallucinating the whole time.
Blair Witch, you're all wrong. But An Affair to Remember. So Ron,
some theories are that there's actually a serial killer out there. And yeah, it's
in the Blair Witch land.
Yeah, it's
Blair Witch 2. That's my pick.
Yeah, get the fuck out of here.
Fucking Oscar right
what
there.
What a piece of shit. And I saw that new one that just came out. It's fine.
Blair Witch 2, the cash grab.
Yeah,
the reboot of Blair Witch actually wasn't that bad.
It wasn't terrible, but I felt like I don't know. It's kind of hard to kind of go back to that same feeling, like that initial like.
Well, yeah,
I thought it was great for what it was.
But they had like all these
better
like,
than Blair Witch 2. So.
They had all these like stupid drone shots that they didn't need that literally added nothing. That's bad filmmaking. If you can cut it from the movie and it makes no difference, it's bad filmmaking. We got a couple of super chats. Apostolos in the chat room for €3 says, "Was it Mad Buck? Taylor, beware of Mad Bucks." The buck that jumped out in front of Taylor. And then Fajar2 says for €3.49 says, "Don't mind me just trying this feature. We don't mind, Fajar. Keep it up.
Try it again.
Keep
Make
trying.
sure it works.
Try it for 10 times the amount. Who knows? We'll see. Anyway, guys, vote on madcastmedia.com. And here's what I wanted to say, Ron. Your version of horror movies is strikingly similar to what Kaufman, the guy who made Eternal Sunshine of a Spotless Mind, and
Charlie Kaufman.
Yes. That's the guy. Charlie Kaufman. He did
Did you adaptation?
Being John Malkovich, Adaptation, one of my favorite movies of all time.
So good.
I love Adaptation.
So amazing. He also did Schenectady, New York, which is such an... I thought it was one of the most amazing movies because the first half of the movie was funnier than most comedies I'd ever seen. And then the last half was so depressing and just gut-wrenchingly depressing. And when he talked about that movie on NPR and different interviews, he said that the studios approached him and wanted him to make a horror movie. And he thought, well, what's scary to me? And what was scary to him was illness that you can't control, like cancer and kidney failure and things like
almost
that.
like cancer has no motive. It's almost chaotic.
Bringing it back. Ron Babcock killing it. So, guys, don't forget to vote. Madcastmedia.com. An Affair to Remember, The Ring, Hereditary, and The Blair Witch Project. Those are your choices.
Fair to Remember is going to win this. That's the terrifying part.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see who wins next week when we have the results of the vote. But we should talk about the results of last week's vote, guys, because I have them here. Shawn, last week we debated, is plastic surgery false advertising? What do you think?
I agree. It's false advertising.
You do agree that it is false advertising?
I believe it. What type of plastic? Any plastic surgery?
Generally speaking, facial.
Yeah, I think. False advertising.
Okay, false advertising. Well, we asked the audience, and this is the third time it's happened in our show's history. But is plastic surgery false advertising? It was a tie.
50-50?
50-50, exactly 50-50. The same number of votes. That's the third time it's happened in our history. Not that impressive when it's the third, but
I still think it's impressive.
Yeah, it's rare. It's really rare. After out of 108 shows, it's only happened 3 times. And then we asked the audience, and I think you guys, spoiler, you might know the answer to this one. But we asked the audience, should Maddox have a unibrow next week? And was 88% of the vote. Yes, and I do. I do. I kept my word. You fucking idiot.
Did you like go down to Mexico and like hike up a mountain and like burn a candle at some statue, like the goddess of Unibrow?
Yeah.
And then it just immediately just grew in on your face?
It was Frida Kahlo. What's her name? Frida Kahlo? Cow?
Frida.
Oh, someone in the
You know what I'm
chat
talking
room
about.
wrote Frida Scalo.
Correct. Well, guys, before we move on, because I got a shit ton of voicemail and stuff I want to cover. We got the quick news headlines with our journalist in moderation, Taylor Nikolai. But we've got something to cover right now. We've got a very special fan gift
Ooh.
from a longtime listener, super fan, Surreal Maddox. And Surreal Maddox sends me something. I'm unwrapping it right now. If you guys are watching on YouTube, you can see what this is. But it looks like it's a handmade painting of Zangief. Look at this. Isn't that amazing? It's Zangief, and it says fuck whales all over the background. And it's, I should say this, for those of you who didn't hear last week's episode, my aesthetic that I'm going for, if I can grow hair, is to look like Zangief.
Well, you've got
because
the
I want to
eyebrows.
shave it down. What's that?
So you got the eyebrows down.
Yeah, I got the eyebrows down. Correct, Sean. Smart man. So I'm going to grow my hair out and then shave it down into a Zangief mohawk. Ron Babcock is holding this up on camera so you guys can see it. Very, very good camera work, Ron. Right on the crotch. It's an amazing painting.
Zangief packing heat.
How badass is that? And he's flipping off too. That's so cool. That's totally me. That's 100% me. Perfect.
You kind of look like the before photo, and Zangief,
Yeah,
I guess, would
put
be
it next to my head, Ron. Let's see how. Okay, I'm moving my head next to the painting here. You guys in the chat room decide if this looks exactly like. I think it looks exactly like me. He's so buffed, it's just like me. Look at that giant middle finger, like my dong.
This is awesome.
It's very cool. We have the best fans on the show. Thank you, Surreal Maddox, for that very nice gift. That's so cool. I'm super impressed. If you guys want to send anything, send me a message on Facebook. I can hook you up with that address. But we should move on.
If you want to send me stuff too, you can send it to Maddox.
That's correct. I'll make sure Taylor gets it. And we should we should move on to some voicemail. We got a shit ton of voicemail this week, guys. Here's one. So a couple of weeks ago, Sean, I talked about how it just infuriates me. It makes my blood boil when we sit down at a restaurant and they bring out the food and the first thing some dipshit does is reach for the salt. It's like, why don't you fucking taste it? Can you humor the chef? The chef who went to fucking culinary school to make this delicious meal for you? Can you just humor him and try it first? Can you just take a bite of your fucking meal and then ruin it with your fucking too much salt, you fucking idiot? Anyway, so I got a call about that. Here's a voicemail.
Yes, I fucking hate salt, dude. I had a friend that we went to a nice restaurant and he ordered us really nice steak. It looked amazing when he got it. Before he even touched the fucking steak, he reaches for the salt. He's like, oh, the salt brings out the flavor. Yeah, dipshit, it brings out the salt flavor. It makes it taste like fucking salt. Fuck.
That guy sounds like me.
I think that if you're at a really nice restaurant,
Yeah.
they don't have salt on the table.
Right.
Yeah,
You know?
probably. Yeah. You know what else I'm tired of? Fucking A1 purists. Like A1 steak sauce purists who are like,
fucking no, or they put the A1 on the steak and they're
No.
just eating A1.
I'm saying that's me. I put A1 on.
Do you?
Oh,
you're
I-
ruining your
fucking
steak. That's
Christ.
got
I'm not ruining
salt
it.
on
no,
it.
It's
you're
not
eating
ruining it.
shitty steak.
Okay, let's hear it, Ron. Let's hear the fucking line.
No,
Everyone says
you're A1 people. It's like to the hot sauce people, and I like hot sauce, but you slather on A1 like
Yeah.
it's this weird fucking savory ranch,
delicious.
and all you could taste is A1, and you're like,
Yeah.
oh, this steak is so good.
It
No,
is.
just put a straw in an A1 bottle and suck that down.
Maybe
But
I will
you've made terrible choices in your life.
maybe I will suck it, Ron. Why do you suck this?
You're one of those. Fuck you. That's. Oh man, I bet you that's what it actually sounds like when you take it out.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it does.
doing.
It's like a little, like a diving board.
Do you bring Are you one of those people who've ever brought hot sauce or A1 sauce to a restaurant?
Hot sauce, yes, not A1 sauce.
But you bring your own hot sauce?
Yeah, like
So you're not
the
trusting
pepper.
them to prepare the food either for you.
It's never spicy enough. That's a difference. That's That's objectively true.
Do you always
unless
put
go-
hot sauce in the cottage cheese when you get that?
I have.
Ugh.
I have.
You're so
sometimes on
fucking
egg-
weird, man.
The pepper flakes are really good, not the actual sauce. But anyway, Ron, here's what every fucking A1 hater says. I only use A1 if the steak needs it. Guys, It doesn't ever need it. You want it. I'm not going to put A1 sauce on a steak because it, quote, needs it for me to fucking eat. I'm not an animal. If it's so gross, I'm not going to fucking mask its flavor just so I can fucking choke down a piece of meat that I don't like. I use A1 sauce because it's a delicious, savory ranch. That's exactly what it is, Ron. A delicious, savory ranch that improves the flavor of steak. Not all steak, but some steak. And sometimes the steak is good enough on its own, like a filet mignon. That's fine. A filet mignon.
Do you put A1 on a filet mignon?
What?
Do you put A1 on a filet
I did,
mignon?
and I got yelled at on a date.
God.
One time.
God.
I bet some chefs crying right now hearing this.
Oh, fuck. It was an Outback Steakhouse. Fuck off. Bullshit. Get out of here. You're fucking...
Man, I like that on your dates you literally spare no expense.
This was in
Oh, the
Utah.
line's too long at Applebee's, so you want to go to Outback?
This was my girl. This is, I think, the first girl I ever
Actually,
dated.
I always had a steak at Outback, and I was actually surprised at how awesome it
Dude,
It was good,
those
yeah.
steaks aren't bad.
It's not bad, actually.
That's our
yeah.
our fancy restaurant out in Ohio.
Yeah.
It's Outback.
Yeah, exactly. It was Utah, so I was like,
Right.
yeah, go to Outback. What's their slogan? All sizzle, no steak, or something?
Outback, fuck you, just eat it.
Oh man, Jesse PS from Pod Awful always says that off the top of his head. Anyway, guys, here's another voicemail. So every now and then, Sean, we get like so many regular callers who call in. They get like nicknames on the show. Well, here's a caller who's called in a few times and doesn't have one yet. Listen to this.
Maddox, I have a question for you. Okay, so I've been calling into the show for a while now. A couple of times I've gotten played on the show, which is always cool. But I don't have a name. And, I'm kind of jealous of these other guys, the Bad Hombre and Weird Matthew McConaughey. They're so good they've got a name. Yo, turn on your lights.
What?
And my motherfucker didn't have his headlights on. Fucking stoned ass motherfucker's gonna get pulled
So
over.
Tourette's?
Oh, good. He got him. Anyways, what was I saying? Yeah, I've been calling in for a while now, and I don't have a name, and
Yeah, okay. We'll stop it there. I got a name for you. It's Headlight Boy. How about that?
I was going to go with Mr. Safety.
Mr. Safety's funny too. What do you think? What do you think is better, Mr. Safety or Headlight Boy? I kind of like Headlight Boy,
because then one day we could promote him to Headlight Man.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
The listeners get promotions too on the show.
Oh, yeah.
Well, here it is, guys. Here's another voicemail by Headlight Boy.
I was sent two.
He sent in another one. He wanted to talk about that we have female guests on the show, and I sometimes say that they're fan favorites when they happen to be fan favorites. But listen to this.
Maddox. Every time you have a woman on the show, you say, "Oh, it's a fan favorite." Just did it last week with Therapist Kelly, and you're right, she is a fan favorite, one of my favorite guests. But you know why all the women are fan favorites? Because we're all losers, Maddox. You have a bunch of losers watching your show like me that can't get a girl. Motherfucking, I ain't talked to a girl. Well, actually, I talked to one early at work today, but I ain't talked to a girl in my social life in years, probably. It's a bunch of motherfucking guys that ain't gotten laid in a while, and we all have sausage fest friends in our own life. We have plenty of fucking penises to hang out with. So when we're listening to a podcast, we like those female friends. All right?
Okay, there you go. A very special voicemail from Headlight Boy.
I'm going to be friends with him now.
Yeah,
I'm going to join
Headlight
this sausage fest party he talks about.
Well, you're part of it.
Me and my partner will go.
Yeah. Yay. We got a voicemail about pickleball because Taylor talked about playing pickleball last week, and he talked about how it's going to be a big thing. Well, listen to this. Here's a voicemail about pickleball. We got a bunch of voicemail about pickleball. Listen to this one.
Taylor, fuck your coast elitist bullshit. Pickleball was something I was playing solidly in the Midwest in the mid-90s. Maybe you are the Johnny-come-lately. Go fuck yourself.
Yeah, damn. What do you say about that, Taylor?
I'm sorry. I just should never talk.
Yeah, correct. But I will say this about that caller. Very aggressive against our poor little Taylor.
Oh, shit.
Douchebag of the week.
I mean, maybe you should be a little bit more welcoming to your sport called pickleball
Yeah, exactly.
rather than shitting on the people who just are getting really into it.
Yeah.
Go with your pickleball bad self, Taylor.
How much of a fucking hipster are you if you're saying you were into pickleball before it was popular?
Yeah.
The biggest.
In the 90s.
Here's another voicemail about pickleball. Listen to this guy.
Taylor, dude, the reason that nobody's playing pickleball right now isn't because it hasn't spread. It's because it's a shitty sport that nobody enjoys. Stop being so pretentious. Jesus Christ, dude.
I don't think it's pretentious. I'm just saying, like, it's growing, and, like, yeah, it's been around for 30 years or whatever, 40 years, but, like, there's a surge of it happening right now.
It's pickleball.
Yeah, it's basically, it sounds like it's tennis with a wiffle ball.
Okay.
and I will say this: anything with the word pickle in it can't, by definition, be pretentious. But here's some more criticism of pickleball. Listen to this.
Jesus fucking Christ! I looked up pickleball, and it's just another tennis spinoff. What the fuck? Like, why? Like, we already have shitty badminton. Like, we don't want other versions of tennis. We know what tennis is like. Tennis sucks. We don't want tennis. Fuck pickleball. Fuck badminton. Fuck table tennis. And fuck beer pong.
He's going on way too far now.
Anything that is tennis related. Fuck that.
So pickleball is actually more like big ping pong than it is small tennis.
Yeah, I still don't care. Here's a voicemail. But speaking of caring, Taylor and I still care a lot about Pokemon Go, and I posted my friend code on my Facebook page for the first time. I've gotten a ton of friend requests, and all these idiots are like, "Oh, Maddox, why don't you open the gift I sent you?" Because I fucking can't. My inventory's full, idiots. I'm just that good at the game. Anyway, here's a voicemail about that. Listen to this.
Your Pokemon Go username is BattleChode69. What the fuck is wrong with you, man? Did you, like, give a fourth grader your Pokemon Go, and then you just decided a name for you? Like, what the fuck? And also, I noticed you didn't have a douchebag of the week in a couple of weeks, so my vote goes to Ron,
Ew.
who apparently rapes washing machines. So, fuck you, dude.
Yeah, what do you think, Ron? Did you want the douchebag of the week?
I mean, I'll take it.
There it is.
You know, it was a bad joke.
Ron
I forget something about a washing machine and having sex with it.
Yeah, because we talked about robots that can consent now.
And just to continue how cool Taylor is, this is the tagline for pickleball, which is pickleball serving up fun times.
Just
It has the same tagline as a Dave and Buster's.
To no one's surprise, I'm single.
Here's another voicemail. So, Ron, you're from Douchebag of the Week. Here's some praise for Ron.
Oh,
Listen to
damn.
this.
All right.
Yeah, hey, so I was just listening to his plastic surgery false advertisement, and I just want to say I think Ron deserves another promotion, because that was a beautiful tangent right there in the middle where he just you guys were talking about if you should disclose about hair, being bald babies, all shit, and then out of nowhere Ron's like, you guys know what I've been doing, how I've been working out, what I've been doing for exercise, and then that led down to this random ass tangent of Taylor talking about pickleball and shit, crypto. So that was a beautiful tangent. Good job.
Thanks,
Ron's
man.
doing his job. I think he's great on the show. Great job, Maddox, Taylor. All right, bye.
Hey, there you go,
It's
Ron.
just nice to be recognized.
You're recognized for the tangents you take the show
Yeah.
on. First tangent officer, not falling short of his title and his duty.
I feel like I was falling short. I was trying to keep it on the track, and then I realized, fuck it.
Yeah. So, you know what, Ron? You keep this up, you may be up for another promotion.
Oh, damn.
Yeah. Could
Just goes to show you, if you work hard and take tangents,
you could go.
good things can happen.
You could go from first tangent officer to second tangent officer. Who knows? Is that
Does
a
this have
promotion?
a pension?
No, it does not. But you do get these benefits. Another voicemail from the Bad Hombre. Listen to this. Bad Hombre was in pretty rough shape this week. Sounds like he's been doing some drinking before he called into the
Jesus,
show.
Bad hombre.
Yeah, listen to this one.
Hey man, I think like as far as when it comes to fucking false advertisement and all that shit, oh fuck. Oh man. I'll call you later, bro. Sober up a little bit.
Yeah, that's right. The Bad Hombre having a real rough time. Now, that's it for the voicemail for this week, guys. If you guys want to leave a voicemail, go to madcastmedia.com, click on the best debate, any episode. The voicemail number is at the bottom of the page. Don't forget to vote on these. I do want to mention, too, I was in Mexico. I came back, and this is, a follow-up to that big cliffhanger at the top of the show, because Taylor asked me if I had diarrhea, and with 100% of the vote, yes, I definitely had diarrhea. I was good for the first 3 days. I had this giant fucking lobster spread, looked like a baller. I posted that shit on Instagram. If you guys aren't following me there, it's real Maddox on Instagram.
Legitimately impressive. It was like a garbage lid full of seafood.
Oh, it's ridiculous.
Garbage can lid, like giant.
Right when I got out of the airport, I just pulled up Yelp. I wanted to find a fucking delicious meal, and I thought, I'm going to treat myself. It's the first vacation I've had in like 4 years. I thought, I'm going to have some, a nice meal. I went to this place, and the guy's like, for you, my friend, I have a deal.
Oh, my gosh.
I said, okay, what's the deal? It goes, lobster, shrimp, and a big platter, And he gave me the price. It was like ridiculously cheap. It was something like $20 for like five or six lobster tails.
You just don't want to see how it was cooked.
It was cooked in deliciousness, and that's not even what gave me diarrhea. What eventually gave me diarrhea is I went to Senior Frogs. They had a foam party one of the nights because I was walking by and they said foam parties on Tuesdays. I'm like, well, this sounds like a shit show. And it was. Did not disappoint. I walked into this place, and when
was there anybody there? Like, were you just walking through foam, like trying to meet people?
Well, so they were doing two things. So they had the foam party later, but before they did that, they had a wet T-shirt contest. And should be just like a wet contest because the T-shirts were gone by the end of it. It was basically every girl was rewarded for being as slutty as possible. So if the girl, and if you guys have ever seen like any kind of like Mexican daytime variety shows where the host has a busty girl come out in a swimsuit, they inevitably the swimsuit comes off at some point, the bathing suit, the top, right? And the girl tries to cover her nipples with her hand, and the host always pretends like it's the craziest thing he's ever seen. And occasionally he'll get a nipple slip and he'll go, oh no,
adios, mijo.
And so this host was doing that because this girl came out and you're like, oh, she's definitely going to take her shirt off. This girl looks super slutty. So I'm like, all right, this is hilarious. So the guy's like hosing her down and she's like dancing and playing up to the crowd. The crowd's eating it up. It's such a lovely time. And so
real family-friendly entertainment.
Yeah,
like, Mommy, what are those?
She eventually loses her shirt, and the crowd is losing their mind. And the host's like, "Oh no,
ay caramba!"
It was so much fun. It was a really good time. But anyway, that's where I got diarrhea.
At that event.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was the one. So I walked up to the guy. I'm a big fan.
What did you have that gave you diarrhea?
Well, I'll tell you what I ordered, and I'll tell you what I had because they're two different things. What I ordered was a michelada, okay? And a michelada, for those of you who don't know, is basically a spicy beer. It's beer where they put a bunch of like hot sauce and chili pepper and limes and shit in it.
It's like Bloody Mary with beer instead of vodka.
Basically, correct. And it's delicious. I love a good michelada. And they give it to you in a big mug. It makes you feel like a man. It hurts your wrists. Fucking awesome.
It's like drinking Mexican spaghetti sauce.
Correct.
Wow.
It's so good.
It's surprisingly good.
What I got, though, was a pina colada. It was the sweetest fucking thing. And they gave me, those 7-Eleven super gulps? The things that are just like, you look like you have diabetes if you order one. They gave me something.
You soon will have diabetes.
You will, for sure. They gave me something that looked like a 7-Eleven super gulp of pina colada mix. And it was so much fucking pina. I drank that thing all fucking night. And by the end of it, I just didn't want it anymore. And so I set it down on this little ledge. And I just walked away from it because they mix the ice into it. And some places don't use purified water for their ice, I found out.
Oh.
Via my butthole later.
Surprise.
Did the pina colada like follow you home? Like, Maddox, drink me.
Daddy.
No, but it did end up on some girl. Because at some point during the night, I'm just sitting there watching the show and all the foam craziness, and everyone's like, hot and horny and grinding up against each other in foam, and it's a mess. It's a hot mess. I highly recommend it. But eventually, someone bumped my pina colada mix, and it fell over and hit like a girl and two guys, and they were just drenched in this fucking pina colada that I'd done my best job of finishing, and I couldn't. And it was all over this girl's dress and everything.
Oh, no.
And no one cared. They continued dancing.
Well, the whole place is a giant washing machine.
Yeah, basically. I heard, though, a friend told me a story where they went to a foam party one time. And for those of you who don't know, a foam party is literally where they just dump a bunch of foam into a dance club, and you're basically just dancing in soap. And it's kind of crazy, can be kind of hot, but there's also like a bunch of bros who turned it into a sausage fest, and that's not as fun. But a friend of mine told me that I think in Florida a long time ago, or Spain or somewhere, they had a foam party, but they put bleach in the foam.
Oh fuck!
And a bunch of people
Like,
My eyes.
Yeah, their eyes were burning. They had to go to the hospital. Like someone got poisoned because they got it in their mouth.
Why would they put bleach in it?
Some fucking idiot. I don't know. Anyway.
After my dick burns, what happened? I went to a bleach party.
Yeah.
Just poured it on my dick.
Anyway, overall good time in Mexico. Highly recommended.
Good for you.
Yeah. But before we move on, we should get to some quick news headlines with our journalist in moderation, Taylor Nicolai. Taylor, what do you got for us?
A woman was arrested for allegedly biting off part of a man's ear during a fight with the man at a Macomb County Chinese restaurant on Thursday night.
What? She Mike Tyson this guy? You guys remember that shit? Mike Tyson, for those of you who are too young, Mike Tyson bit off the ear of Evander Holyfield. Yeah.
According to deputies, they were called to China One restaurant in Mount Clemens around 9:40 p.m. When they arrived, they found a man with his ear partially bitten off and a woman with a large bump on her forehead. As she was pushed out of the store, she bit the man on the ear, partially detaching it.
Maybe she thought he was part of the buffet.
Oh, man. I just, when I was reading this, the thing that made me think is, that grabbing someone and then pulling them close enough to bite their ear sounds like a process.
It also just feels like it's been done before. It feels like this is kind of her go-to move.
Played out.
Right.
Oh, I didn't even think about that. She's probably done this before. She's probably
like
conditions.
It is a way of ending a fight.
To bite, you know what? Why the ear? Because that seems like such a. You have to go around their head.
Why not the nose?
Yeah, the nose is what I was
automatically,
thinking.
if you bite hard enough, you'll start watering up. You can't see.
Ear, you can really get some leverage on, and then it's also the kind of thing this fight will end, but that scar will be there forever.
I'd like to see their eyes when I'm biting their nose. Like, I'm eating your fucking face right now.
Yeah,
hardcore. Yeah,
yeah. That is like the penguin from Batman 2.
Oh,
with
yeah.
Michael Douglas. Remember that? He bit someone's nose.
How did he even do that? He's 4'2"?
Danny DeVito?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's just a
3'11"
a movie though. But
I've always been surprised where he gets his tuxes from, where he
he gets
Penguin?
on the children's
just
section.
get tailored. I mean, he has such a white body.
If you're wondering whether that strange light you saw zipping across the night sky was a UFO, you're not alone. According to the National UFO Reporting Center, more than 1,300 UFO sightings have been reported so far this year. However, that number represents a decline in recent years. While the organization only recorded 307 sightings back in 1990, they reached a peak of 8,619 in 2014. So the point of the article is that UFO sightings are actually way down lately.
That's interesting. Maybe also that we're in such an age of everyone's got a cell phone and Google. UFOs aren't that...
Oh, good point. So less ways to doctor photos.
Yeah, less ways to doctor photos and
I think it'd be
more. Yeah,
with Adobe Premiere and all these different video editing software, you can be like, look, here's Independence Day.
But it's also kind of an old school, old timey. Back in the 40s when people didn't have shit to do, that was fun. Let's make a fucking let's.
No, you're right. Back in the 40s, there wasn't much shit to look at, so people just looked to the sky, and then they would see something oh my god, a UFO. And now it's man, we got tons of shit to look at.
Now we can't even see the sky because there's too much
there's
light pollution.
probably more
light
UFOs.
pollution.
We're just too busy on our phone looking down.
So
we're all looking down.
On goddamn phones.
Right. That reminds me, one time, so there's a theater, a very famous improv theater in Los Angeles called the Groundlings, and I was riding my bike down on a street, and I was walking by a TMZ tour bus. They have these TMZ tour buses where they take you around the city to show you, the sights and everything, and they would die if they saw an actual celebrity on these tour buses because they kind of sell it like that, right? Well, the tour bus was at a red light, and Don Cheadle walked out of the Groundlings building, walked over to his bike. He rode a bike there, and hopped on his bike. And I looked over at the TMZ tour bus expecting everyone to be losing their fucking minds, and every single person was looking down at their phone. Yeah. And I laughed so hard, I thought that's the most beautiful irony.
They were all looking at pictures of Don Cheadle.
It made me so happy that they all missed that. Anyway, that may be the same phenomenon with this UFO stuff. What else you got, Taylor?
NASA astronauts' space treasure map sparks hunt for Caribbean wrecks.
Wait, it's a...
There's a lot to unpack there, right?
Yeah, what is it?
So there was this NASA astronaut...
Yeah.
...who made a space treasure map. He made a treasure map when he was in space.
Oh, he looked at the Earth and tried to find treasures from space?
Astronaut Gordon Cooper was a born explorer. He broke countless NASA spaceflight records, like the longest single-man spaceflight, a 122-hour mission. But one of his greatest achievements may not have been unveiled if it wasn't for his willingness to share a secret he had kept for more than 40 years. During his time in space,
There's gold in that there ocean.
During his time in space, Cooper made an incredible discovery. Anomalies he believed were shipwrecks. He meticulously noted them and created what some are calling a treasure map from space.
Yeah, some are calling because that's exactly what it fucking is. It's a treasure map from space. Why are some calling it
Some
that?
are calling satellite images.
Some are calling, yeah, that's so
Some
fucking...
are calling images from a satellite
Some
that
are
he
calling-
looked at and put a red Sharpie around the spots that looked like there might be something there.
Sketches from an astronaut, some would say. By the way, what a fucking creep. If you're like, if you're out in space with your, like Glenn Armstrong or whatever, and he's like, hey, Charles, what you doing over there? He goes, nothing. What you drawing? Nothing.
Well, he was out there 122 days or whatever. He probably gets somebody like, oh, fuck it. Like, how much space ice cream can you eat? And he just starts taking pictures and looking at shit. But have they found anything yet? It's not a treasure map unless it leads to actual treasure.
Yeah, no.
So it's a little premature to call it a treasure map, right?
There's, like...
He's a billionaire. He's dying now. He's like, you fools, I found all your treasures.
So are we going to have space pirates now? And is that why we're starting Space Force? To combat the space pirates?
Fucking Trump, man.
Yeah.
You gotta watch out for that guy.
Fucking Trump.
Yeah.
After 4 years as the top elected official of a small town in Minnesota, a four-legged mayor has decided he's getting a bit long in the tooth and is not seeking re-election.
Mayor or mayor?
Mayor.
A horse. Are you talking about a horse?
M-A-Y-O-R.
Oh, mayor. That's a mayor.
Horse too. Did you say four-legged?
I thought you were talking about John Mayer.
Did I say four-legged?
You said four-legged mare.
Yeah,
Wow.
you said four-legged mayor. And I'm
like-
you're talking about a horse.
I thought.
Oh, I thought you were
Long
actually
tooth?
talking about like a town that elected a horse as the mayor.
That's what I thought too. Yeah.
Yeah, that's.
What the
I
fuck are you
honestly
talking about,
thought
Taylor?
that.
What is
No,
the story?
idiots, it's about a dog. Mayor Duke, a 13-year-old...
I'm gonna run for fucking mayor.
Oh, Taylor, you fucking this story. All right, what is it?
13-year-old Great Pyrenees dog has spent the past 4 years serving as the ceremonial mayor of Cormorant, Minnesota, after representing the town as best he could by leading parades, appearing on billboards, and keeping up the town's good name.
Does he know he's doing this?
Duke will return to a private life, but not before doing a tell-all biography.
Tell-all barkography.
The book takes readers through a journey of Duke's life and how he taught a town to be chill, join in, and be kind.
And lick your own butthole.
Oh gosh, these fucking small towns, man. They don't have anything going on, so they're like, why don't we do something zany?
I guess our biggest product here is whimsy.
That's all they got. Whimsy and Puerto Vallarta shirts. Okay.
Japanese authorities denied a man the chance his wish to die a castaway on an island he called home for 3 decades.
Okay, here you go, idiot. What, did he just send this guy on a raft out to sea? Like, hey, this guy wants to die.
So, I'm not going to butcher his name. I'm not going to bother. Was the only inhabitant of the kilometer-wide island, but was forced to return to civilization after being found unwell by police.
That's the point. He's there to die. Let him.
He lived in solitude since 1989 and became known as the Naked Hermit after being discovered by a traveler who writes about castaways.
And he was naked.
Fuck that traveler. The dude just wants to be left alone. He's a hermit. Grant him his wish.
Yeah.
He would travel to a nearby island using money sent from his family to get water and his staple food of rice cakes, which he would boil 4 or 5 times a day. Water for bathing and shaving came from the rain caught in a system of battered cooking pots. Just a year into his stay, his clothes were washed away in a typhoon.
Oh, shit.
Oh, fuck.
My clothes. My one pair of pants.
Did he not?
Not my dress shirt.
Was he not smart enough to like make his own clothing? Like, was it Christopher Robbins? Not that's not
Tom
the name.
Hanks. You're thinking Tom Hanks.
No,
Talking about Winnie the Pooh guy?
You're thinking of Robinson Crusoe?
yeah, that's a guy.
Robinson, yeah.
I like, so the traveler shows up and he's just wearing a coconut bra. And he fills it out surprisingly nice.
Dick's real chafe for masturbation. In the chat room, Tender Tuna says about the last story, he goes, that mayor has fucked a lot of bitches.
Time magazine announced what they are considering the 25 most influential people on the internet. And I kind of wanted to play a game with you guys on how many of these people you could guess.
Okay, I got this. Tyler Oakley. He's got to be on there.
No.
Logan
What?
Paul.
Logan Paul's on.
Logan and Jake
Jake.
Paul are together.
Elon Musk.
Is he an influencer?
He's not like an internet guy.
You said
I wouldn't say.
25 most influential people on the
No,
internet.
he's the new Tesla.
Are we talking about like actual homegrown internet people, or are we
YouTube
talking
creators?
about?
No, we are
Like
not
Webby
necessarily
work,
talking about e-celebrities. We are
Oh.
talking about people who are influential on the
How
internet.
about Lele Pons?
No.
Donald Trump, Hillary
Surprising-
Clinton.
Donald Trump is on the list.
Fuck this list. This is
Yeah,
garbage.
those are
Okay.
influencers.
Yeah, I hate this shit. It's like the Webby Awards where they're like
Is it-
giving out awards
Is
to just anyone.
Ron Babcock on there?
So, what-
Ron Babcock, Babcock. Am I on
Wait
there?
a second,
was-
the Jenga gift guy?
Yeah, I mean, I have over 5,000 followers almost on Twitter.
So, two of the funny things that I found on this list, and obviously the list is stacked with people like Kylie Jenner, who are extremely influential and have created a $1 billion makeup industry from their Instagram
What a
following,
brave
basically.
warrior.
But the thing that really caught me off guard
Struggle.
is a couple people. One, Lil Michaela, I think I pronounced her name, is an animated figure. Who is an animated figure on Instagram?
This is dumb. That's not a fucking person.
The person who did the Yanni Laurel, they put that person on this list.
What? That's
a viral thing.
That's a flash in the pan.
Yeah, that's like the dress.
Again, giving us the content that we need in this day and age.
This fucking Time magazine. I used to follow their Facebook page, and I unsubscribed because it was such clickbait bullshit. Because I was like, oh, I like Time magazine. They write some good articles, and then every single one of their posts was like, name someone on the internet. Like, what the fuck is this list?
So, just to confirm, am I not on the list?
You are on the list.
my God, I can't believe I'm on the list.
Hey,
crazy.
congrats, Rob.
Now he's talking about the sexual predator list, not
Oh,
not that
You know,
list.
listen, it's just nice to be a part of something.
You're on a list, yeah.
All right, that's the news for the week.
Those are the news headlines. Thank you, Taylor. Anyway, Sean, thank you for coming on the show. Where can people find you? Where can people find your T-shirts and artwork?
Currently, they can find me right here, right now.
Correct.
But so the T-shirts you can find at amnclothing.com. That's M as in Mary, N as in Nancy.
Wait, now hold on just a second.
Oh,
Let me
shit.
get this straight. It's AMN Clothing?
Yes.
.com. Okay.
AMN Clothing. It stands for
Stands
any
for
means-
any means necessary. It's a lifestyle that myself and my business partner Mike kind of live.
Business partner who like to fuck.
Yes, by any means necessary. Yeah, it kind of was based on, he grew up kind of homeless in his high school era, lived in some meth lab for a bit, and was then sleeping on couches.
Had some rough times, yeah.
And then now he's, co-owner of a clothing company with me. He has a wife, 2 awesome kids, a house. He's able to afford all of
His own meth lab.
His own meth lab.
That's
Yeah,
cool.
the kids
Living the
are,
dream. Yeah.
when the kids do it, you don't really expect it. Like when they're, look at the gas mask and everything. And, I came up from Maine, being chased by moose, food stamps, super poor.
No bucks in Maine, huh?
The typical Midwest life.
Yeah.
And yeah, we're just kind of making it work.
It's such a cool story, guys. It really is awesome, and you're. I know it sounds like I'm just like blowing sunshine up your ass, but your artwork is amazing. I'm a huge fan, and your T-shirts are such high quality. I got another one that you guys had. It's like a lion with some.
Oh, the
squid-
tentacles on it.
Yeah, the tentacles.
Sea lion.
So fucking cool. If
We're
you guys
good at
have ever-
puns.
What's that?
So we're good at puns.
Yeah, is that what it is?
Yeah.
Okay,
That's awesome.
Yeah, so if you guys ever see me wearing these shirts on the stream, that's what it's from. Any means necessary, and you got a huge shout out from Terry Crews, right?
Yes.
Let's hear about that.
So I finally got a verified check mark after blowing enough people at Twitter to finally give me this check mark, and I didn't know really what it does, but apparently it allows you to kind of like be seen by other verified people.
Yeah.
So I guess you have an option to where you can only watch verified or see verified replies, and so I've been a Terry Crews fan since I can't even tell you when, way back in the day. A huge fan of him in the Expendables, Brooklyn Nine-Nine, which ended up getting, I guess, picked back up again. But I just shot him a message saying like, I really appreciate the sexual victim stuff that he's kind of going through.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
hey,
he was groped
right.
at a party.
Yeah,
like a dude.
Yeah, he just some guy that was like, I don't know if it was his agent or someone that he was working with, just grabbed his junk.
Yeah.
And guy's like, "Oh, I'm just joking." And I was like, "If you're grabbing my junk, like I don't know, that's not really much of a joke." Like,
and it's so hard for a guy to come out with stuff like that.
That guy,
especially that guy.
You got a 6 foot, muscle bound, black gentleman who is like, "I've been sexually assaulted," and they're like, "Fuck you! Like, why don't you just punch him?" Like, yeah, let me just punch someone, real quick. That'll be fun.
You'll go to jail,
right? Or get shot.
The
age we're living in now. But I just reached out to him. Was like, dude, was like, huge fan. Would love to send you just a package. Kind of tell him about the whole Any Means Necessary brand and send it out to him. He's also an artist, an amazing artist. Which
really, Terry Crews is.
He is mind-blowingly good. He does a lot of like sports, like football players, baseball players. He also invents furniture. Like he concepts furniture, and he has a couple different.
What about a chair with 5 legs?
Hear me out here.
You're flying too close to the sun, Terry.
But the artist thing is what we kind of like connected to, and I sent him a bunch of shirts and didn't think much of it, and he sent me a picture going to like, "I love this workout tee." It was Any Means Necessary. On the back it says vulnerability is not a weakness, so that's on the back of it.
I think it's in fact a strength at times.
It is.
You can use your vulnerabilities as a strength.
Yeah, because like when they're like, "Oh, you okay?" Uppercut, fucking right in their face.
Sun Tzu's The Art of War. Fantastic. By the way, that's what I was reading on the beach. No joke. I have a picture. I'll post it on Instagram. But yeah.
As you were sitting in a puddle of your own diarrhea.
Growing out his eyebrow.
Not a weakness. Not a weakness, though.
That was his deterrent.
Oh, man. Real quick, too. When I was walking around, they have all these, like, hawkers, these street hawkers who are selling trinkets and souvenirs and T-shirts and stuff. And they have, like, it's like almost like any touristy city. You go to New York, they have I Love New York shirts. You go to Mexico. I went to Puerto Vallarta, and they were selling all these, like, Puerto Vallarta shirts. I walk by, and this guy's like, "Hey, you're my bro." I said, "Okay." He goes, "You're my bro. Come here, amigo." I said, okay. He goes, "Do you know what you need?" And I'm talking to this guy, and I find out like he actually lives in California, and he comes down to Puerto Vallarta to work during the summer because he makes more money, and it's cool down there. He goes, "You know what you need, my friend?" I said, "What?" He goes, "You need a shirt that says Puerto Vallarta on it."
Holy shit, you're right.
I loved his earnestness in pitching me this shirt. I actually bought one. I also bought a ridiculous cowboy hat when I was down there.
He's a good salesman.
Yeah, I looked like a total tourist. But anyway, hey, do you guys have anything like that? Do you have any Puerto Vallarta shirts on your Any Means Necessary clothing?
We have a Fuck Maddox shirt on there somewhere. We're trying to sell.
Below the belt. No, I don't think so.
No, we a lot of our stuff, like talking previously, was we put a lot of our mental illness designs on T-shirts. Doesn't have like the actual name of the disorder on it, but for people who are suffering bipolar or borderline, they feel strengthened when they buy one of these shirts. Like it's like I'm able to show the world that I suffer from bipolar and not having to say I have bipolar. Because obviously when you say I have cancer, I have AIDS, like, oh, that sucks.
Right,
that's unfortunate. Right. You go, hey, I have borderline personality. They're like, oh, you're crazy. Okay, get away from me.
Mm-hmm. That's a really good analogy for the mental illness itself, because you're wearing it on the outside, but nobody knows what it is and nobody sees it. And that's a fantastic way to represent it on a T-shirt without labeling it, because people see it, but they don't recognize it for what it is. And that's amazing.
That's what a
really amazing statement.
A lot of people go through. Is like when we launched it all, I had obviously the whole viral thing happened. Yeah. BuzzFeed reached out and all these other, and I didn't know how to handle that shit. So I probably sound like a complete tool, like I usually do. But we had all these fans start reaching out to us and going, I take this to my therapist. I've been going to the therapist for 3 years. I could never fully explain to them what I'm experiencing. I took them your artwork and go, that is how I feel. Exactly how your artwork is, that's how I feel. And the therapist goes, oh, okay, now we can work on something. We can figure something out. And I have therapists around the world reaching out to the clothing company saying, I use your stuff in our practice. There's a German college of, I'm assuming, psychology or psychotherapy that actually is licensing all of my mental illness artwork in their textbook.
Wow.
Which I can't read it because I can't read German, but it's cool. And I was like, you guys should send me a book. And they're like, no, we're not.
You don't even get a copy.
Yeah. But
Sorry, you gotta pay.
it's been a big thing, and a lot with a lot of celebrities are starting to come out now like, look, I battle with depression, I battle with anxiety, I have these issues, and it's becoming okay, or at least it's becoming more okay to talk about the struggles that we have, because you don't like when we lost, Chris Cornell, Chester Bennington, everyone's like, how the fuck are they depressed?
And what's his name? The chef, the guy
Anthony Bourdain.
Anthony Bourdain. He's
right.
not a
That
chef,
one-
but the food critic. Yeah.
That one caught me off guard.
Yeah.
It caught a lot of people off
Yeah.
guard. I mean, you look at someone like Anthony Bourdain, and he is doing every day for work what people strive to do
Right.
in their vacation time, which is he travels the world, tries delicious food, meets interesting people. He's making lots of money. Seems like from the outside
Seems
he's
like,
got it made.
creatively fulfilled, it just has a nice viewpoint on life. You know what I mean? Like every time he kind of had a wrap up in one of his shows, it was like sweet and I don't know. It just was a nice little insight into like the human condition.
He seemed like a really warm person, and then
At
the end of the day, and Avicii too, the DJ, died from I believe that was a suicide as well. But there's so many people who have successful lives, and they seem so happy from the outside. But there are these people who are constantly battling the same exact depression that you at home might be battling, and you're not alone. It's a very, very important message. I really appreciate that you've done this, and you guys should definitely check it out. And not just that stuff as well. I mean, your body of work is amazing. And in Cyanide and Happiness, what do you do with those guys?
I pretend to be an artist for them.
Yeah, get out of here. You're so good, dude.
So I do background art for a lot of the series, the cartoon shorts. I'm currently working on the Freakpocalypse point and click adventure game.
Yeah.
So on that, I'm doing background art, UI interface design, which all this stuff I've never touched before.
Yeah.
But Chris Wilson, who's one of the original creators, is who brought me into this.
Chris is amazing. Good friend of mine. Yeah.
Right. Like he literally changed my career in terms of, hey, you can have a career in art.
Yeah.
Guess what? You know, when he brought me on board back in like 2009, 2010, and he's like, hey, I want you to do the UI interface. I'm like, dude, I've never done that. And he goes, I trust you. Here we go. And
so cool.
I'm working on the game.
And we had Rob on the show from Cyanide and Happiness, and I should also mention that game is being developed by a good friend of mine and a good friend of the show, Roger Barr.
Roger Barr.
Yeah, Roger Barr.
He's a very cool guy, very knowledgeable. I actually met him for the first time in San Diego last year.
Yeah.
Kind of saw his, I think it's Graveyard Chasers.
Graveyard Chasers, that's right,
and I just love the whole like throwback, NES, Super Nintendo feel to it.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Yeah, he's a super cool guy. I admire his long hair. Because I can't have it.
Yeah, it's not that big of a deal though if you don't, unless.
Yeah, I mean, some would say it might even be overrated.
Right? Yeah.
Unless it's in the middle of your eyebrows. That's correct.
You should just grow that out.
I should.
Like a Fu Manchu around your nose.
I don't want to turn that girl at the coffee shop on too much.
Hey, you like the unibrow? What do you see my back?
Or my ass crack.
I should also say thank you to everyone who tuned in to the live show, chatting in the chat room. Thank you to the super chats. If you guys don't know what a super chat is, if you guys are watching live on YouTube, it's a way to donate a little bit of money and help support the show, and I'll read your comments as a shout out. We've got some from Pavich Bavin. He sent $4 in 2 increments. He said, Pina Nicolata. This one's for you, Taylor. Hey, that's cool. Has anyone ever called you Pina Nicolata?
No.
Oh, there you go. There's a first. And we got one from Catherine in the chat room for $2. She says, this is a super chat. Apostolos for €2 says, this super chat is to support the news by Taylor. Thank you, Apostolos.
Aww.
Super cool. And then another one from Apostolos for €2 says, Maddox, write a book, Astronaut Crappy Drawings. That's pretty good. I think I may. Anyway, guys, thank you again for supporting the show. We may be doing this live again. Leave a comment on Facebook. If you go to madcastmedia.com, you can leave a comment on there. Let us know what you guys think of this live show. If you guys want to see more of these, we'd love to get some of your feedback. Thank you again to Shawn Coss for coming on the show.
Thanks, guys.
Shawn, amazing work. Thank you to the First Tangent Officer, Ron Babcock.
It reminds me of a story.
And thank you to the journalist in moderation, Taylor Nicola.
Journalist in moderation.
But most of all, you're welcome.
Hey, your whole aesthetic is informed by Street Fighter 2? Does that mean you have thick-ass thighs like Chun-Li?
Yeah, maybe I do, bad hombre.
Hey there. Don't forget to subscribe to Madcast shows on iTunes, Stitcher, or your favorite podcast app. Okay, bye. Madcast Media Network.